Anyone who has played Valorant can testify that it is a hard game. But what is it that makes a game so hard? Is it all the different agents and abilities? The weapon pool? The maps? Whatever it is that makes Valorant difficult for you, I guarantee you every single person watching this video has struggled at some point with this one particular thing: gunfighting. In this video, I hope to shed some light on some of those questions that pop into the back of your mind when you lose a gunfight, and possibly give you some tips and tricks to help you win more gunfights and secure wins for you and your team. So, without further ado, here are my top 10 tips and tricks for gunfighting in Valorant. I hope you all enjoy. Alright, so coming in at number 1 is keeping a calm and cool mentality. And what I mean by that is, whenever you do a bad play, or whenever you take a bad play and you die when you know you shouldn't have, don't instantly flame yourself. How do you expect to be able to peak with confidence and take fights with confidence if you're constantly berating yourself and destroying your own confidence? You're in your elo for a reason. There is a reason that you're there. Don't destroy yourself every single time you make a mistake. Contrary to popular belief, pros make mistakes as well. Everyone makes mistakes when they play this game. The only difference between a good player and a decent player is that good players know this and they don't instantly blow up and destroy their own confidence whenever they make a mistake. Coming in at number 2 is aiming first and then shooting, which sounds pretty simple, and I'm sure that some of you just kind of sighed and laughed and were like, well, of course. But it's actually not that easy, and I see a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people, their first instinct whenever they see an enemy is to shoot and then aim. And that's a really bad practice, because then not only are you fighting against your own reaction speed and the enemy's movement, but you're also fighting against the recoil of your gun. And that is very bad. What you want to do is get into the practice of aiming onto their chest. We'll say chest now, but ideally you want to be on their head. But you want to aim on their head and then shoot. It is very, very simple, but it's actually really hard. Number 3 is crosshair placement. And I'm sure that a lot of you have probably heard this because it's echo chambered a lot throughout the Valorant community, but there's a reason. It is the most important mechanic in the game. It is the foundation of every single kill. Crosshair placement is so important. Good crosshair placement allows you to make the most minimal amount of movement with your mouse to get kills, which is very, very important to securing kills back to back to back. Good crosshair placement is kind of a cheat code, because then you're not solely relying on an aim goal every single time. With good map knowledge and good crosshair placement, you can secure a kill pretty much every single time, guaranteed. So number 4 is isolating 1v1s and exposing yourself to as little angles as possible. And I'm going to use B long on Pearl as an example here. So say you're pushing on the Pearl, right? And you're clearing, you check halls, you check screens. Are you going to push down this way, or are you going to push down this way? Take a moment to answer and think about it for a second. Which way is the optimal way to push onto B? If you said this way, then you're wrong, and I'll explain to you why. If you push this way, you are exposed to 3 different angles right now: screens, halls, and sight. Whereas if you were to go behind this pillar and push onto sight, you're only exposed to 2: screens and halls. Does that make sense? You want to ideally be able to be seen from as little angles as possible. And this comes with map knowledge and knowing where frequent places people hold is. But as you do this more, you'll see that you win way more gunfights and you're a lot safer taking your gunfights. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about exposing yourself to different angles, and for that I'm going to have to go to mid, so give me a second. Alright, so we're mid, right? Say your team is pushing down B and you're holding, watching for flank. How are you going to watch this area right here? How do you plan on watching this big area right here without exposing yourself to as little angles and making sure that no one is able to come through? Some people, almost killed myself. Some people may hold it from up here. Some people may hold it from here, right? And this is very, very bad. And why it's bad is because you're exposed to so many different angles. Someone could walk up this way, someone could walk in this way, someone could walk behind you, right? If you are going to hold an angle like this, ideally you want to be as deep in the angle as possible. So instead of holding it from here and exposing yourself to many different areas, you would hold it from, say, back here, where if someone is going to flank through shops, then they're going to have to all come through your line of sight. Does that make sense? And it's the same way over here. If you're holding from here, you don't want to be holding it from here where you have to adjust your aim in case someone comes from real close. You want to be holding it from far back here. That way, if someone pushes up right here from Plaza, their head level is right where your crosshair is. And if someone pushes up close right here, their head level is right here, and you're just going to blast their head off. So ideally, you want to cover as many angles as possible and hold angles that are favorable for you. Whoever is closer to a wall will be seen first. If you're holding this angle from here, the person that is pushing from here is going to see you first. And you will see that if you start practicing these strategies and these tricks, you will win more gunfights and you will frag out more. You'll catch way more people off guard. Number 6 is having a game plan for every single round of the game. And what I mean by that is, I know that a lot of you treat your comp matches like they're deathmatch games, and that's not good. Every single fight should not be an aim duel. If you take the time to slow down and calculate and think about how the enemy could use their utility and how you could use your utility to counter that, you will win way more gunfights and just flat out win way more games. Valorant is not a game of pure skill. There is a lot of strategy that goes into Valorant. There's a lot of people who are in really high ranks, and it's not because they're aim demons. It's because they think so far ahead. They're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. You need to slow down and think about how you can use your utility to help your team win and how you can counteract the enemy utility whenever they push onto site. Not every single fight should be an aim duel where you just run down main and die in the first 5 seconds of every single round. Number 7 is being able to identify the difference between confidence and ego. Confidence is, well, being confident. It's knowing that you have the skill to beat your opponent in an aim duel, but not overplaying your hand and taking really risky plays just for the sake of showboating and showing off to your teammates and the enemies. And ego is the exact opposite of that. Ego is showboating and taking dangerous plays and trying to clip farm in every single game. For example, I'm sure that we've all seen teammates and had teammates on our team in comp matches that just run it down main every single round and either die within the first 5 seconds or maybe get 1 kill and then die. And it's just not working, but they don't stop doing it. That's ego. That will actively stop you from winning your fights and your games and basically entirely stop you from climbing. Number 8 is learning the maps and knowing the callouts. I know how annoying it may be to go into a custom game and run through maps and learn every single intricate detail of it. And that's not what I'm saying that you need to do, but a bare minimum is know the major popular callouts. Knowing callouts is going to help you pre-aim to certain places on the map. And while this kind of goes in with the whole number 5 of knowing angles and taking favorable fights, I felt like this is a more specific thing that needed its own category. If you don't know the map, how are you going to expect to be able to keep good crosshair placement throughout going through different angles and different parts of the map and knowing where head level is? It just in general is a very important thing that, like other things on this list, builds and builds and builds and builds onto your ability to be able to take gunfights accordingly and efficiently. Number 9 is utilizing your utility properly. And what I mean by that is not just learning lineups. While lineups will help you and can come in clutch and win you rounds, they're not exactly going to come in and win you gunfights outright. What I mean by utilizing your utility properly is understanding your kit beyond what your abilities do and knowing the best time and place to utilize them to get you kills. So many times I see Phoenixes, for example, just throw a flash around a corner for no specific reason other than to just waste utility, and that is a really bad practice, because not only will you not have that utility later on in the round when you could possibly really need it, but you're also giving the enemies valuable information about your location and how much utility you have left. Utilizing your utility properly, whether it's a Molotov or a flash or a smoke or a stim, can significantly skew a gunfight and a round in your favor, and knowing when the best time to use it is a really good thing to know. Also, understanding how your utility is going to affect not only enemies but also teammates is very valuable. You need to be aware of who is behind you and who is in front of you and how your utility is going to affect them. For example, if you're playing KO and you right click a flash behind you to peek with it, do you know if your teammates are behind you? Are you flashing your teammates? Could you possibly get them killed because of your utility usage? So many things go into using utility. I can't really talk about it all in this video, and if you guys want, I can create a video specifically on utility usage, because it is such an important factor that goes into every single game and gunfight that I kind of think it does deserve its own video. The last thing I want to talk about today is movement. Movement is very, very important to winning gunfights in any game, but especially Valorant. It is so vital and key to you securing kills back to back to back and being safer taking gunfights that honestly I could do a whole video just on movement alone, but I'll try and compact it down into a small clip for you guys. Essentially, whenever gunfighting, you don't want to be a stationary target, because a stationary target is easy to hit. Take these bots for example. I can easily flick to each bot individually because they're stationary, they're not moving. This allows me to easily line up a headshot and take time. But if these bots were to be strafing and dead zoning, then it would be so much harder to hit them. The same applies to you. So whenever you're shooting and fighting someone, you want to be strafing left and right, but you also don't want to only strafe left and right. If this bot were shooting at me, for here, we'll just do it against this wall for example. If the bot, say this is where the bot is shooting, right? If I'm strafing back and forth like this, I'm always going in between where the bot is shooting, right? So instead of only strafing to the left and right like this, change it up a little bit. If you strafe right again, strafe left, left, right, left. You want to be as unpredictable and stay moving as possible, only stopping whenever you can take a shot. So for example, I'd strafe, shoot, strafe, shoot, strafe, shoot, strafe, shoot. It seems simple, but it's hard. But after a while of doing it, the muscle memory will kick in and you won't even have to actively tell yourself to strafe. It'll just become something that you do in every single gunfight. It is so valuable in every gunfight, and every single pro player and every single high value player that you see does this. It is one of the most important things on this list, which is why I kept it for last. And that's it. That's all my tips that I got for you guys today. The most important takeaway from this video is to give yourself time. Nobody was an aim demon overnight. Nobody was the best player in their game overnight. If you don't give yourself time to practice and learn new skills and adjust to other people's playstyles, then you're just fighting an uphill battle. You need to take your time and learn as you play. Everybody does it. If this video helped you in any way, please consider dropping a like and sub. It would really help me a lot and I would much appreciate it. Consider going down to the comments and letting me know which tip helped you the most and which tip you agree with the most. Maybe leave a comment and let me know stuff that you think I missed or stuff that I could explain better. I would really appreciate any of the feedback that you guys got from me. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one, and stay frosty, guys. Bye.